Hello, my name's Paul McAllen, and this is my review of a Hohner HS-35 semi-hollow guitar and an Epiphone Dot semi-hollow body guitar. They're both copies of the iconic Gibson ES-335, which is a very versatile guitar. It sounds great for blues and rock and roll and R&B and funk, and it passes for jazz. A thicker, fatter body guitar sounds better for jazz, but if you can only have one guitar to cover all the bases, in my opinion, the semi-hollow body 335 copy is the way to go. So I'm going to start with this Epiphone. Now, I've had this Epiphone Dot for about a year, I suppose, so it's been my workhorse for the past year. And I've tried out so many copies of a 335, and out of all the cheap ones, the only one that really has a similar tone to it, I'd have to say, is the Epiphone Dot. And it's mainly just the pickups that are in it that aren't anything expensive or anything, but they're the only ones that really have a similar tone to a Gibson. But you can always change out the pickups later. So I just want to give you an idea of the tone that this thing has. I have the volume knobs all the way up, and I have the tone knobs rolled back just slightly, and I have it on the middle position here. And here's the neck pickup. And the bridge pickup. So I'm going to try to keep this review brief, but that's basically the tone you get out of this thing. I might come back to talking about it, but this is all the stock electronics and everything. And I just got this Korean-made Hohner from some guy that was moving out of town, and he couldn't really take everything he had with him, so I got a really good deal on this. And this one's been modified just about any way you can imagine. The most important of which is he has a pair of Gibson 57 Classic PAF pickups in it, which are my favorite pickups. So I don't know if you can tell the difference in the tone, but they are, the PAF pickups in general, I feel like, are more responsive to your touch. They're more dynamic to me. I use some effects, obviously, reverb and tremolo a lot. I don't really use any distortion. I think a lot of the companies tend to put in a pickup that they feel is an all-purpose pickup that sounds good with lots of distortion and other effects, but then they, to me, seem to lack that depth that the original humbuckers had. Anyway, this is with both pickups on, which is most of the time the way I use it. pickup. And the bridge. So you get an idea of the tone I got. So I much prefer the Gibson pickups to the ones that come in the Epiphone, but I think, as I said earlier, out of Ibanez and all the other brands that make copies of a 335, I'd have to go with the Epiphone Dot tone-wise, including the Epiphone Sheridan I prefer, and Epiphone makes one called an ES-335 Pro, and I've tried them all out, but it seems to me the closest to the Gibson ES-335 tone-wise is the Dot. But anyway, my suggestion would be, if you don't have $3,000 to spend on a guitar, to get a Gibson, or there's a few other brands that are really nice, like Heritage and Eastman. But if you don't have a whole bunch of money to spend, if you want to spend, $600 or less, find one that you really like the feel of, and then later change out the electronics. A lot of people do that. Or better yet, find one that somebody already did put in exactly what you'd put in, because they never can get, what they paid to have everything done. For example, this guitar, the guy did exactly what I would do to it, which is put those Gibson pickups in, and he changed out all the electronics in there to high quality stuff, and even the knobs. These are my favorite knobs just for the aesthetics of it, because they're like Fender amplifier knobs. And he also put locking tuners on the back. So what I paid for the whole thing is probably what he paid, or I might even paid less than what he paid to buy these two pickups and the electronics and have somebody put it in, because it's very cumbersome to work on this type of guitar, because they have to get in the F-holes with special tools just to disconnect the electronics. So it takes a while for a luthier to change out the pickups on a semi-hollow body guitar. It's not like a Strat or a Telecaster or a Les Paul, where they have a panel on the back on those solid body guitars where it's easy to work on. So if you can find one that they've already done everything that you'd have done, that's really the best way to go, and that's what I found right here. I mean, if you look on eBay, there's some nice guitars. There's an Epiphone, a blonde Epiphone Sheraton that somebody put Gibson 57 Classics in. But, it's not super cheap, and you can't try it out first, which is, can be a problem. I guess the only thing I'm not crazy about on this Hohner is the fretboard's kind of flat. Like most guitars will have a little bit of a curve to them. This one seems mighty flat. But I'm used to it already, and they say it's better for slide, having a flat fretboard, and for bending strings, supposedly, it's better to have a flat fretboard. So I think that's about it. I have a little cheat sheet in case I forgot to mention anything. Just out of all these guitars I've tried out that are copies of the 335s, tons of different brands, just feel-wise, for the low-end stuff, I think Ibanez seems to be the most well-made of the bunch. And I mean, even their knobs, they put a lot of thought, it seems like, into making it player friendly. Like the knobs on it have a little rubber strip that make it really easy to adjust things quickly. The bridge as well is a better design than this, I think. But they just don't sound like a Gibson at all. So, but it's a good instrument to go ahead and change out the pickups later if you really love how it feels and looks and everything. I'd suggest an Ibanez actually out of the stuff that's being manufactured right now, brand new. And you don't see too many of these floating around, Hohners, the famous harmonica company. But I think this was made in the 90s. For a while they were making them in Korea. Prince used a Hohner Telecaster copy all the time. And that thing sounded really nice. So I highly recommend the Hohner and the Epiphone Dot. If you only have like $250 to spend, you can probably find a used Epiphone Dot, and that's the closest thing you're going to get tone-wise at that price to a real 335. And I think that's about it. I've been playing this thing through a Vox VT40 amp, which is a hybrid with one little tube. It's a modeling amp. I have it on the Fender Blackface model. And that's pretty much all the only model I use on this thing.